Yeah, you're on YouTube now, Dhariya.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So how can we change the?
You can switch on your video. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll switch
What do you want to do?
the background.
There is a setting in Zoom actually you can do later. In Zoom, you need to log into account configuration, then you can.
Okay, no issues then, no problem.
Okay. So meanwhile, you can get started with your introduction, Dhariya.
Yes.
How
So
do you pronounce your name actually?
Dhariya. You can it's actually pronounced Dhariya, but you can pronounce it Dhariya.
Dhariya. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Dhariya. Please go
Yes.
ahead.
So I am basically an electronics engineer. So I passed out during the COVID pandemic, May of 2020. So as it was pandemic, I didn't have much to do during that couple of months. So I means I went through some courses online to do so I don't waste my time. So I got a good means introduction to data science and everything from various blogs and everything. So I got interested and I wanted to learn more. So I took the applied AI course, if you are aware of it. So I am currently enrolled into applied AI course. It is a complete course for data science and machine learning only. So I am around halfway through the course, you can say. So it's been
Okay.
2 to 3 months. So I'm actually learning. I just started deep learning, but I was halted because of some reasons. So I'm currently doing deep learning, means starting to explore deep learning and everything else.
Okay.
Yes.
So what courses you have done? What courses you have done?
So I firstly during college also I did some courses for Python and everything, because as I am of a non-CS background, I didn't get much programming subjects in my college. So I did some courses of Python from Coursera. So I first did it from Coursera. I briefly went through the Andrew NG course also for machine learning, but it felt like very much theory for me. So it's just my practice means personal opinion. I don't like much theory when it comes to these are I like a practical approach to these subjects,
Mm-hmm.
especially data science and machine learning related
Okay.
subjects. Yes. So I went through a number of blogs online. Basically, I got to know a lot from towards data science blogs, which are posted on Medium. So they are a great resource for data science, means data science related subjects. You will find a blog for almost every subject.
Okay.
So I really liked them. I like the diagrammatic representation. So I decided I wanted to go deep. So I decided I wanted to do a career change from electronics to data science. So I started learning Python, and then I took the applied AI course actually. So it's applied AI is actually a company in Hyderabad. So they have hosted a
Mm-hmm.
course online only. So they have their own site, and the course is very good actually. The content is really good. Well, just a personal opinion again, because I like the practical approach and the simplicity with which they under means explain every each and every
So,
concept.
so what all topics you have learned till now in machine learning or data
So
science?
yes, so I went through the supervised machine learning algorithms. So the KNN, logistic regression, linear regression, then boosting, bagging, ensemble models, basically decision trees, and so on. Then I went through some dimensionality reduction techniques like PCA and TSNE also. Then apart from that, I started with deep learning. So I know the basics of some kernels which are used, convolution, what is convolution, then weight initialization and everything, which it's a part of deep learning, TensorFlow. So when I talk deep learning, I'm only referring to the TensorFlow and Keras, because I have just learned that currently. Means the basics, started learning.
You have learned machine learning, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me one thing. If you're, let's suppose example,
Hmm.
just a hypothetical situation, right?
Yes,
Let's
yes.
say class 4 kid asks you what is machine learning. What will be
Okay.
your answer?
Okay. So basically, my answer would be that if uh, I have a bunch of I have two things. I want to say that if this is 1 minute, I'll just phrase it nicely. Uh,
Yeah.
Machine learning is basically learning from what you did in the past. So
Mm-hmm.
from the past means what has happened already. So it's not a way to explain a fourth grader, but
Mm-hmm.
it's basically from what happened in the past. We can predict what will happen uh, given a certain situation.
Okay. Will that always hold true? I mean,
No, not
if I take
always actually.
example of,
Not always.
yeah, yeah,
This is just for supervised.
just to complete my question.
Okay.
Uh, let let's say if I take example of uh, tourist visit in Goa,
Hmm.
search the forecast the number of tourist visits in Goa. Okay,
Okay.
and I give you the data for, let's say, last 20 years of tourist visit in Goa.
Okay.
Okay, so with that model, can you predict the tourist visit for April 2021? I
Yes,
give you monthly
we
data for last 500 months, let's say.
yes we can, but we can't say that it will be the exact value. So it will be just a prediction. We can train a model
Why?
because the trend can actually change. So we the model can learn a particular trend, but as an example, as we can take an example of this only due to the COVID pandemic, for example. So a model can't learn about the COVID pandemic because it's just 1 year data. So it's just 12-month data, and the tourist visits would be drastically dropping. So that will confuse a particular model because model only learns from the data we provide.
Mm-hmm.
If so that this means this is a outlier, means this can be considered as an outlier point. Like for example, there would be, if we consider data until 2019, there will be a considerable amount of tourists in Goa for means in the rush hour months or every month for that matter. It won't be the same as it was in 2020 after March. So that will confuse the model a lot, because if we choose a time series based model, so we take time into consideration, sample using time. So that will be a difficult thing to predict. So it's not always accurate, but we can predict the time, means number of tourists.
Okay. And what will be the factors do you think that will, if I tell you that give me a model which can, you have to collect data for Goa tourist forecast. Okay. So how many
Mm-hmm.
tourists are visiting Goa?
Okay.
So what kind of data you think you will collect and what kind of data will make?
So first thing that comes to mind is hotel reservations data we can collect.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, so that will give us a rough count of how many means people from outside are visiting Goa. So
Mm-hmm.
that can be one thing. Then one is tickets, means air tickets, train tickets, any public data if we can get access. So we can use that data. Then what else comes to mind? So we can also use means what else? I actually thought that hotel data means the hotels and lodges data will be means a good prediction
Okay. Okay.
of the number of tourists.
Okay. Can you talk about any of the use case that you have worked on in machine learning side?
Okay, so I actually just worked on a financial problem actually. So it's a Kaggle problem only. So I did it as a part of a case study for my course. So it's the home credit default risk. So home credit is basically a company which provides loans based on the credit history of a person. So even the unbanked population. So based on his previous financial history, a deep dive into his previous financial history, the company will decide whether they can provide a credit amount to that particular person and what will be the amount of credit and everything. So I basically worked on a classification problem on this. So we were given a large amount of data actually. They open sourced it for the contest only. So it was around 3 GB of data, and there were 9 data files, actually 8 data files, sorry. So there was a lot of information, and our main task was to predict whether a person would default based on the data or not. So each person was categorized by a unique ID. They called it SKID, CURR, SKID, current SKID. And we had a number of data sources also, like a person's credit card history was one data source, then previous applications with different companies and with home credit itself. So there were two separate data files for that also. Then the current application data and etc. etc. So there were a lot of data points.
Okay.
Yes. So I used the here actually it was specified in the Kaggle problem itself. So we had to use the AUC score as the performance metric.
So how is the target variable looking like?
So target variable is a binary value 0 1. So
Okay.
it is a binary classification problem only.
Okay.
Yes, and my metric was AUC score, AUC score, because the data was highly imbalanced. Firstly, so there were only around 8% points, which is very common in financial data sets, as I did a literature survey and everything. So there were only 8% data points which were for the interesting, means the target value 1. So 0 means the person hasn't defected on his loan or missed any installment payments, and 1 means that a person has defected and he is a defaulter. So we were more interested in two things. So one was to predict the defaulter correctly, and second was to reduce the number of predictions of non-defaulters, which are predicted as defaulters. So that is a very important thing for a company, because you can't tell your customers based on a computer model, means that first they have default, means they are the defaulters as predicted by a program, but actually in actuality they were actually not defaulting. So that was one issue which was very difficult, means quite challenging to solve. That we needed the false 1 minute, false negatives, I guess. False negatives and false positives were the two things also we had to. So the recall value was also very important apart from the AUC score in this. So I basically tested a lot of models, but before that, the feature engineering was the main part of this problem actually. So the data was very large, but the means no features could be used directly apart from the three external source features that they actually the company provided us. So there were three features named ext source 1, 2, and 3. So they were quite means correlated with the target variable, our target variable. And apart from that, none of the features could be used directly. So some kind of feature engineering had to be done. So I did a lot of feature engineering also. I did a literature survey, means it was basically a 2-year-old contest. So it wasn't a recent contest. It happened in 2018. So there were already a bunch of solutions on the internet. So I had a lot of references. So I did my own feature engineering. I created some of my own features also based on what I had read and thought what would be important for this problem. So it was very good, means it's a very good problem too, but it takes a lot of time actually because the data set is large. It's its size is 3 GB, around 3 GB, and there are 8 data sources we need to explore. So my approach to this problem was I first did an in-depth EDA of all the data files and figured out with the literature survey content I had and with my own EDA, I figured out what will be the important means primary features I could use to create new features which would be more important to my target variable. Then I created those new features in feature engineering. I removed some outliers from the data. So many of these things were means references I got from different kernels and public discussion forums on Kaggle only. So that was very helpful. So after that, I ran a baseline model. Means I ran a bunch of models actually. So light GBM was basically one of the main means achieving models. So
Which all models you ran?
so first, I ran a baseline model, random prediction. I just predicted all the values as median, and I got an AOC score of around zero point 0.5 because it was a random model. Then I went to logistic regression. So I ran a logistic regression model. So it's actually for my features, what I had read online and what I got as a result was surprising actually. For my features, logistic regression was performing very nicely actually. So I got
Did you
a
did you also try linear regression?
no. This is a classification problem, no. So we
I
can't.
can't I can't fit a linear regression model to
Yeah,
classify.
actually, linear regression is a regression-based model, and logistic regression is a classification.
What is the problem if I give, so to the Python, if I give this same data and in place of logistic regression I call linear regression, then what is the problem?
Okay, so linear regression basically predicts a continuous value. So it doesn't predict a 0, 1 value or a probability value between 0 and 1. Uh, huh?
Why?
So the linear regression, the optimization problem we try to solve in linear regression is that we try to fit every data point in a single line, and we don't want that. We want to predict whether it will be a 0 output or a 1 output. So that is one of the main differences between regression and
So
classification.
how this 0 or 1 is predicted in logistic regression?
So logistic regression basically uses something called as a sigmoid function. So sigmoid, what it does is whatever prediction you get from the logistic regression model is a probability value between 0 and 1. So if the value is above zero point 0.5, it predicts it as 1 or defaulter in our case. And if the probability value we get as an output is less than zero point 0.5, it predicts it as 0.
Okay.
Yes. So
if it's a probability value, let's say you are saying logistic regression output is a probability value, correct? So how do you interpret your model coefficients in logistic regression then?
so model coefficients in logistic regression.
Correct.
Okay. Interpret means they actually the model coefficients are actually the feature importances. So more the value of a coefficient, absolute value of a coefficient, so more it will be impacting our probability value. So
True, but what I want to what I mean to
yes, I
ask you
didn't get
is,
the question. Yes, yes.
what I mean to ask you is, when you say more, when you say less, when you say big, when you say small, all these
Yes.
things are qualitative terms.
Yes.
I want you to answer me in mathematical terms. When you say more, how much more? When you say less, how much less?
Okay. So more in the sense, so I can't give a value actually. I didn't go through the coefficients for my case because there were a lot. So
In generic, I'm saying, in generic, you have learned linear regression, logistic regression, you told in the
yes,
beginning.
yes.
In general, I'm asking, so you train a linear regression model, you train a logistic regression model. So how do you interpret the coefficients of a logistic regression model is my question.
So interpret, I didn't get the exact question. Can you rephrase the question in some other kind so I can get the main
So
gist?
if it's a regression model, it will be a equation, correct?
Yes.
it will be a equation of the form beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2
beta
x2.
to x2 square plus so on.
So in
Okay.
logistic regression also, right hand side of the equation is this, left hand side of the equation is something else, correct?
Okay.
So how do you how do you make business understand what is your beta naught, what is your beta 1? I mean meaning, business meaning of that.
Okay. So business meaning is basically beta one means whatever these values we are saying, they are basically the weights assigned to each feature. So
True.
initially we assign random weights or anything, and then we fit a model. So what model fitting basically means is that we iterate through each and every data point we have, and based on the output we get, we compute a loss metric and change the means weight values accordingly using some method like gradient descent or stochastic gradient descent. And the final weight vectors we get are the weights for each feature. So they actually means looking at these weights, we can say that if the weight value is very large compared to the other weight values. So for example, if we can say the feature importance of one feature is 100 and rest of the other features is 7, 8 or 5, 6, then we can say that this feature highly impacts our output.
Correct. I agree with your answer. When you say highly, how much is my question?
So highly means it's a very important feature, and the other features won't. This will be the deciding feature basically, if we can say.
True. All these terms are, I'm not denying any of these terms, but
Mhm.
all these terms are qualitative again.
Yes, yes, but I don't actually get the question. So
So you have a line y is equal to mx plus c,
yes, yes, that's in.
beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2, correct?
Mhm.
What is the meaning of beta 1 here and beta 0 here and beta 2 here? How do you define beta 1, beta 2, beta 0? Forget logistic regression. In linear regression, you can tell me.
Mhm. So I actually explained the process only. So I'm not sure what to answer. So I don't know the answer in this.
I'll give you one equation itself, okay?
Okay.
Let us say height is equal to, this is
Mm-hmm.
let's say Indian male, okay? Just
Mm-hmm.
a imaginary equation I'm giving you.
Yes, yes.
Indian male height is equal to, let us say, 2 into BMI.
Mm-hmm.
Just a imaginary equation, don't take
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no issues. Yes.
2 into BMI plus
Hmm.
10 into weight plus 5.
Okay.
Just an example. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you make someone understand mathematically, statistically, what is 2, what is 8, what is 10, whatever coefficients I have given you? How is height and BMI related, for example?
Okay. So that's what you're asking. So the signs also matter actually. So it basically means that with a change in the means weight value, how much will the height value actually change?
Hmm.
So if the value of means the coefficient of weight is very high, then a change in weight value will result to a considerable change in the height value also. So if height is our target variable, did you get it?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to add something more on that. Is that all?
Okay, so in the less important features, basically, so they will not have that kind of impact on the height value as the means the most important or the high coefficient value features.
Okay.
Yes, and the sign also matters actually. So if the sign is negative, then it's negatively correlated. So it's highly correlated, but it's negatively. So a decrease in weight value will result to an increase in height if the sign is negative.
Okay. What other algorithms you have worked on?
So I have actually worked on ensembles also during this case study, and I like the concept also. the first time I was.
Can you explain me what is the meaning of ensemble model in layman terms?
So ensemble model is using n n models or a number of models together in some way to get a better overall model. So that's my understanding of using them. So there, yes.
Advantage, why not one model, why many models?
So what happens is if you depend on one model, so we depend on one model a lot, but we can use some smaller models. Like for example, what happens in boosting is we use shallow depth decision trees and shallow depth decision trees together in sequence to get a better overall models for our means data.
What is the advantage of that?
Okay, so better prediction. Firstly, better prediction. Then boosting and bagging are the two techniques, popular techniques. So they help reduce the variance and bias also. Uh, in case of this, what bagging, we use high variance models. So when we means you train a bagging model like random forest, so our base learners have a very high variance and low bias, but the resulting random forest model will also have a low bias and a low variance. As a result of training these all high variance models together, we reduce the variance. And in boosting, we reduce the bias using the same technique, means a different technique. So that helps. So we can reduce the bias and variance also.
Can you tell me what is your understanding of bias? What is bias? Tell
So
me.
bias is basically after every means iteration during model training, we calculate a loss metric. So I consider the loss metric value as the bias value.
Okay. Loss metric value as the bias value.
Yes, that is
And
my understanding.
what is your understanding of variance?
So variance basically means that whenever there is a small change in the inputs, so how will that change affect the output? Means our target variable. So if the model is high variance model we have trained, then a small change in the input values will considerably change the output. So that is not means good.
So
That is,
what is the cause of high variance? Why model have high variance?
so they have given it a term called overfitting. So whenever we train a model on the trained data set, so if we change the parameters such that it fits highly on the trained data. So if we take the example of a linear regression model only, so if we have n data points and we train it with a means without any regularization, if we train it without any regularization, so it will fit on those endpoints only. So the resultant will be a line connecting all those endpoints. So if there comes a point which is not on that line, so it will be a very means the actual value and the predicted value will be very different from each other.
Hmm. Okay. So you said the purpose of ensemble models is to have a low bias and low variance, right?
No, that is one of the purposes actually. So
What
ensemble.
other purposes?
So we basically means get together and weak learners, or we can say weak or uh, not that means we can say weak learners, and we put them together in such a way that we get a strong learner as a resultant output.
Yeah, that is the process. But I was asking about the usability. what is the usability?
Okay.
Why and
Usability.
why not normal regression models or SVM models? Why ensemble models?
So I haven't gone into that much theory actually. So I know they perform better than the normal models.
Okay. So you have some idea about TensorFlow and Keras?
Some basically not that much. I just started it actually.
Can you tell the difference between normal machine learning and neural network?
Uh, Normal machine learning and neural network. Okay. Uh, can we skip deep learning actually? So I don't know how to phrase it. I know what a neural network is.
What a neural network is, tell me.
So neural network is basically a method which was developed using the working of our means own human brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically helps us define an architecture to learn this only learn what we can from the input data and output data, like
Mm-hmm.
in machine learning. And so I can't actually explain it. I don't know how actually.
Okay, okay,
Sorry.
never mind, never mind. So, do you know what is sampling in statistics?
Sampling in statistics, yes, somewhat.
What is sampling?
Sampling is basically choosing if we choose m data points out of the given data set of n points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically known as sampling. So there are a number of techniques for sampling. So one is random sampling, that is choosing m random data points from those n points.
Mm-hmm.
So other I have learned is proportional sampling. So it's kind of random sampling, but it depends on the value of the data also. So what proportional sampling does is that if the value of a particular data point is very high, so then its likelihood to be chosen increases.
Mm-hmm.
So that is proportional sampling. So I actually learned it during something k-means. I actually learned it during the k-means clustering, learning about k-means clustering algorithm.
Okay.
Yes.
So, let's say I go to a classroom, okay,
Yes.
and the classroom has 50 students, 25 boys, 25 girls, okay,
Hmm.
and I have to take 10 people, sample of 10 people from the class,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, can I take first 10 people from the first bench? I mean, first two benches.
Yeah. We can take actually. So there isn't any restriction given as of now. So we can take any 10 people we want,
Okay,
right?
okay.
There isn't any restrictions given.
The meaning of sampling itself is random. You told random itself.
Okay.
When you say random, then how it can be in order?
So it can't be in order. So random sampling can't be in order.
The meaning of
Yes.
sampling itself is random, right? Anyway, are you aware of central limit theorem?
Yes.
What
Central
is
limit
that?
theorem. So it basically states that for a given population,
Hmm.
so if we take suppose k samples of m points each from a given population, and we take a sample mean of each of these k samples we have taken, then these sample means which we take will follow a normal distribution, Gaussian normal distribution, given that the value of n, which is the number of points in each sample, is greater than 30, especially for that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what is the meaning of p-value?
P-value, so it's, I think, a value metric for null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis testing.
Anything else you want to add?
So based on the p-value, we do this testing. So either we reject the null hypothesis or accept it. So there is a threshold decided for this p-value.
No, what I'm asking you is what is mango? What you are telling me is with mango we can make mango milkshake, we can eat
Okay.
mango. What is mango? I'm asking you.
No, I have no idea about p-value.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any idea about type 1 and type 2 error?
No.
Okay. Difference between percentage and percentile?
Uh, Percentage and percentile. That's a basic question, but I don't know. So percentage and percentile. Percentile, I know that if we say it's 90 percentile, then it means that we the value chosen is 90% above all the given values in a particular set.
Any example?
So any example meaning? Okay.
Any real world example you can give?
Okay, so one thing is if we can consider a test out of 100, for example. So if a person scores 95 in a test out of 100, so his percentage is 95 percentage in percentage actually. But considering that, let's consider that there are 30 students in a class and 15 of them scored above 95. So the percentile value for that person will be very less. So this is a very raw example. It's theoretical,
Mm-hmm.
but the percentile value would be less because even though he scored 95 out of 100, there were a lot of people who scored more than that. So from a given pool of marks, he is in the middle, not on top. So
Okay.
that's my understanding. I don't know if it's correct.
No, that is whatever you are telling is fine. Just that you need to frame it in a little different way.
Yes.
You basically know the difference between percentage and percentile.
Mhm.
But you told you don't know.
Yes, actually, I knew it, but the framing part only I have to work on. So,
Okay.
yes.
So are you aware of what is interquartile range of a data?
So yes, it's the difference between the 75th third quartile and the first quartile, or 75th percentile and the 25th percentile of data.
And what is the use of IQR?
IQR basically tells us that if most of the values, so we can detect outliers in the data, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
considering a box plot, the box plot actually plots the IQR only. So it gives a median value and the IQR values.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see what distribution of data means what how many data points are actually in this interquartile range, and we can consider any points above this or 90th percentile, not 90th, but we can consider the to look into the points above the 75th percentile for outliers, or below the 25th percentile for outliers or anomalies in our data actually.
What is the definition of outlier you told?
So they are basically anomalies. So data point whose value is very much different from the rest of the distribution, general distribution of the data point.
Yeah.
Yes.
How to know which values are will be called as outlier? How to know?
So we have a bunch of techniques, like, so one technique I learned in the brief about was something called ransack. So what it does is it recognizes which points are outlier points and which points are the data points. And basic meaning we can know is by uh, seeing the values also. But if the data points number of data points are very much, we have to come up with a technique to detect these outliers.
Okay. Since you spoke about box plot, so I asked you this. Okay, not a problem.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay. Yes.
what was your branch in engineering? You told.
I was from electronics engineering.
So did you do coding in your BTech?
Not much actually. I did it externally. So I was a part of a site called Hackster. So I developed projects. They were basically hardware projects only, but I
Mm-hmm.
came across Python when working on a Raspberry Pi. So it's a development board only. So I did C coding, embedded C coding, and normal C also. I was good, not proficient, but I was good, considerably good at normal C also. So I actually started everything in December, November end or December only.
Okay, okay, cool. So what are the things you have done in Python packages, and what are the things?
Okay, so first I was only means when I did it during college, I only used hardware specific means the GPIO for Raspberry Pi and everything. So I didn't do much of these pandas and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
pandas and NumPy came occasionally, but I didn't focus on them
Okay.
more much. Yes. So they were all hardware specific packages which I worked on. So I
Mm-hmm.
started with pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib in this only November, December, from November, December.
Okay. But from November, December, you are working on these packages, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you find Python? Good, bad, ugly?
So it's considerably easy because I have also learned Java in my school. So it's considerably easy when compared to a language like Java.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I faced a lot of issues regarding space and everything when I was doing this case study specifically, because one of the major reasons is that I don't have a powerful PC or laptop with me. So I had to do most of my work in Google Colab and everything. So Python is actually takes a lot of memory when it wants to. So the memory issue was one I faced in this, and I actually read about that also. So some of the reasons is that we don't have to declare the variable. So it's good actually for now that we don't have to declare the variable type or anything. But
How is Python different from Java?
so the one of the basic things is variable declarations, which I means means I found out when I first started Python. So you don't need to give a variable type means declaration. So for example, in Java you need
That is about coding part.
yes, yes.
Let's not go into coding part.
Okay.
High level, you tell me how is Python different from Java?
So firstly, Python is open source, I guess. So Java would be also open source, but so seeing into it, both are high level languages. So we can use both to complete a task. And Java can also be used for web development. I used Python for web development.
Okay. So did you find a difference between the way you used to run code in Java and the way you run code in Python?
Running code, so not really because I used the IDEs and everything for that.
Do you know what is a Java C file? Java C.
Yes, 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 yes. So
What is that?
I actually don't remember much of Java. It's a intermediate file generated by Java, I guess, after a compiler goes through the Java code.
And what is the extension for Python files?
.py.
Have you seen any time .pyc file in your
No,
life?
no, 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 no. Yes,
The difference between Java and Python. Okay.
yes, yes, yes,
So Java code you need to compile, Python code you no need to compile.
yes.
Okay. This is called a interpreted language or
Hmm.
interpretable language.
Interpret. Huh.
And good thing about Python is easy to learn. Everybody is saying in comment also people are saying
Hmm, hmm,
easy
hmm,
to learn. Syntax is good. Okay,
hmm,
the syntax is good and it's easy to learn, right?
hmm, hmm.
So which means that there are packages to do many things. That is why people
Yes,
like.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
now nowadays many packages, many support for the programmers. Hence, as a programmer, our life is little easier. Okay,
Hmm, yes.
let us assume a scenario that these things are not there and we need to
Hmm,
write
hmm.
the code. Okay,
Yes.
so let us say I give you a Python list.
Hmm,
Okay, in that list there are 4 or 5 names. For
hmm.
example, first name is my name, Aman. Then comes, I will take some name from the comment, Rakesh, Ajay,
Okay,
then your name, Dhariya.
okay.
List Aman, Rakesh, Ajay, Dhari.
Huh.
How, without using any Python function, how would you reverse this list?
So we can use indexing and go through the loop and create a new list. The basic, I mean, most trivial solution would be that
Hmm.
to do that. So create a new list and go reverse. So iterate through the whole list in reverse and append it into the new list.
Okay. Any other solution that comes to your mind?
There are a bunch of solutions, but I can't think about them. So
Okay. So for example, there is my name Aman, Aman, right?
yes,
And I want the last two characters out from this name. So the output I want is An.
okay.
So Aman is a string, Aman is a string. I
Hmm.
want An. I just want to take An.
Hmm,
How
hmm,
to
hmm.
do that in Python?
So the string is we can convert the string into a list only, and we can take the first and the last element of that list.
No, probably I did not tell my question properly. There is a string, okay?
Hmm.
Let us consider S1. S1 is a string.
Yes.
In double quotes, Aman Aman. S1 is equal to Aman Aman in double quotes.
Yes.
I want a new string S2 where the value will be just An.
Okay. So I actually used, so we can typecast, means we can convert the string into a list. So I was basically saying that only, and we can take the first and the last character of the list.
Why do you want to convert in a list?
So,
It is
yeah,
just
we can iterate, yes, we can iterate through the string also and take the first and the last character.
okay, okay, okay. So Samir is saying S2 is equal to S1 bigger bracket 2 colon.
Okay.
That is the answer I was looking for
Okay.
actually.
Indexing. So you wanted to know indexing. So you wanted the last two characters, A
Yeah,
and
yeah,
A. Okay. So, okay. Indexing. Yes. So we can use that.
that is fine.
Hmm.
Have you run for loops in Python?
Yes.
So tell me one thing. There is a data frame. Okay,
Hmm.
there is a data frame. In that data frame, pandas data frame. Okay, in
Hmm.
that pandas data frame, there is employee data of an organization. Okay,
Hmm.
so in employee data, I have employee ID, employee name, gender.
Hmm.
These three columns only. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to create a new column in the data set, and
Hmm.
if the gender is male, then 1, if female, then 0.
Okay.
How to do that?
If the gender is male, then one, and if it's female, then zero
Yeah,
for
new
the
column.
new. Okay.
Yes.
So we can firstly, if we want to use for loop, we can iterate through this the gender column. So
Can you roughly tell the syntax of a for loop in data frame?
so yes, so for each gender value in df of gender.
No, no, very, very first line of the for loop. For I in what?
So df of gender, I told now. We want only the gender values for our new column, right?
Hmm.
So df of square bracket gender. So I'm just looping through all the gender values because the new column is based on only those values.
Okay.
Or we can do for I in df also, and then I of gender. So if we do I in df, then for every means the I will be each row of the data frame. So from that we can take the gender value. So that is also an option we can go for.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to see how you will iterate through a loop. Actually, iterating through whenever you are writing a for loop, right? You
Hmm.
need three things: initialization, continuation, and termination.
Hmm.
Okay. Initialization means where you will start. For example, I will say I is equal to 1.
Hmm.
Continuation means till where you want to go. For example, I want to go till row 10.
But in Python, for loop syntax doesn't have these things. So I
Correct.
know in C it has.
Correct. Internally, it will take these three things.
Yes, internally it will take, but in Python means programmatically we don't have to give it in code, so we have to do it like this only.
That's what the first line. What is your first line? Now tell me freshly. For loop ka first line, tell me.
In this na Python, so I am telling you now for I in df, if the data frame name is df, I am telling you that.
Okay. Will
Yes.
that work?
Okay. With data frame, I have iterated through data frames.
You would have used some function.
Okay. Wait.
Do you have Python notebook open? You can try.
Yes, yes. So I basically iterate through the column only. So df of gender, I guess I can use that.
You can share your screen if you want.
Okay. One you have disabled screen sharing actually.
Let me enable it. More. I'm making you host. Later you make me host. Okay.
Oh, I am actually not signed in, so if that will.
Yeah, you cannot share the screen.
Okay. You can see this, right?
Yes, yes. Take any data frame.
Okay. 1 minute, we'll just public data frame. Just want the example data frame for.
Any simple data frame you can take.
Yeah. They haven't actually given the code here. No issues. Data frame. Yeah. This is df.
Hmm.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, just create a new column
Okay.
where create a new column where column B is even number. Insert 1, if odd number, insert 0.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, yes.
How come everything is 0 here?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Okay, now I got your point. Okay. I think we need to initialize the first.
Guys, in comment you can also write your code. I mean on the same data, on Dhariya's data only. If you want, you can write your code.
Okay.
Few of you have already answered the function I'm looking for. Sheldon Sebastian has answered.
Okay.
I mean, let me be sure if Sheldon has only answered. I'm looking for a function which nobody is answering. Yes, yes, Sheldon has answered that. Make it C instead of A, Rohit is saying.
What?
No. In comments, people are saying various things.
Okay.
So
So what function is so what's the function if you don't?
iter rows, right? For index comma
Okay.
for index
Index comma enumerate.
rows enumerate also you can use, or iter rows you can use. That is better actually. iter rows.
Iter.
df dot iter rows df dot iter rows. I mean your data frame dot,
Okay.
and then in your row variable, so idx comma that I variable, right? In that I
Mhm.
variable, one row will come. You can do whatever you want with that row.
Okay. Okay, I got it. We have to use iter tools
Okay.
for this. Okay. So in
Otherwise,
normal app,
lambda function also you can use.
yes, we can use that.
Otherwise, you can say df column c is equal to df dot apply. If b is
Mm-hmm.
even, then 1, else
Huh,
0, like
huh,
that you can say.
L0, yes.
Lambda function is faster. Iter rows is also okay. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
large data set, using for loop also we can do, but that will be slow in
So,
large data set
yeah,
actually.
so this is the issue I actually face. Being from a non-CS background, I don't have the fundamentals for data structures, algorithms, and everything. So,
That will
and
come with. Hmm.
yes.
So another thing is this Python and these things we have covered. Okay, now let us do a simple use case kind of thing. Since you are sharing your screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since you are sharing your screen, hence I want to ask you this. Uh, Something which is not very general. Okay, how do you find that in Google? That's what I want to test here. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm going to give you a scenario, and you have to tell me how will you approach that scenario. For example, let us say I trained a model, and my
Hmm.
model size is, let's say, 5 GB. Model size is
Okay.
huge. I saved my
Okay.
model, that is a 5 GB model.
Okay.
Now the server which I am getting for model deployment is of less capacity.
Okay.
Okay, how do I ensure that, let's say, when I say less capacity, it is just 8 GB or 10 GB, like that,
Okay.
and my model should serve many requests. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
thousands of requests per minute.
Okay.
So there is no right or wrong answer to this. Okay, but how
Okay.
do you go through different articles or different things on Google, try to find out how to solve this problem.
Okay. 1 minute. I'll just share the whole screen. I just shared the tab. Mm.
Okay,
Yes.
you understood the problem, right?
Yes. Uh, so firstly, so if I know what model I'm using, so first we can just search for optimizations in that particular model. So if we consider that we are using theoretically, just hypothetically, that we are training a logistic regression model, and the
Mm,
final model we are getting, so we can just search for some optimizations in logistic regression model sizes,
Mm-hmm.
how to reduce. So first, uh, uh, what say we can say. So I actually like to use Stack Overflow. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually use this Stack Overflow.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I just use this keyword. So size reduction, or so here if I have a light GBM model, then I can just use the keywords and I use Stack Overflow. My first thing to do is using Stack Overflow, and then I go through other articles other than the Stack Overflow. Like I
Mm-hmm.
here, if I can get
Okay.
this is the official
And then you
document.
will search for various techniques here, right?
Yes, so that
Okay.
is my approach actually. Why did I stop? 1 minute, sorry. Accidentally pressed stop sharing. So that is my basic approach. I start with Stack Overflow, and if it is data science related, then I use towards data science. So I basically have some 3 to 4 means sites which I'm used used to. So I use them, and if I don't find a solution in those, then I move towards the normal other blogs I can find on Google.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. As I said, there is no right or wrong
Hmm.
answer on this. Okay.
Yes, yes. So yes,
So, Dhariya, 1 hour we have crossed. It was a very interesting discussion. Okay.
yeah.
I'll
Thank you.
I'll just give you some honest feedbacks.
Yes,
Okay. Do not take my feedbacks personally. This is for your growth.
yes, yes.
If
No
you
issue.
if you do good, I'll be more than happy. Don't take it personally. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So very first thing is, uh, people are also saying that you are good in, since you come from electronics background and these things, coding also, the way you are running code, it's decent, it's not bad. Okay.
Okay.
So that is one good part. There is always scope for improvement, that is fine, right?
Hmm.
So that you can easily pick up from your this thing. I can say Python thing you can pick up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Stat side also, since you have started very recently, right?
Hmm.
November,
Hmm.
December you have started 2020.
Yes.
So you are learning, you're trying to answer, and few things you are able to answer also.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That is good. Machine learning side, your answers were not satisfactory, I will say. I
Yes.
want you to go through the basics again. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
ISLR book you have to. There is a book called Introduction to Statistical Learning. Okay, by Trevor.
Okay.
That book I recommend to everyone. If you can just read that book, it will help you a lot. Not once, twice, thrice. I read that book now also. Okay, it's very useful book.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Machine learning side, it's you need to improve. Anyway, you have spent very less time. Do some more projects. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Another thing I want to bring your attention is when somebody asks you, uh, talk about any of your project, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
This is for all the viewers also. When somebody says talk about your projects, right? You should go in a sequence. Okay. So Dhariya is a fresher now. I have no, I'm not putting him in a difficult situation, but I'm just telling to all you guys, right? uh, when somebody asks you project, right, you should start from what is the business context. Then you should say how the data is. Okay. Then you should say how did you get the data, how did you brought the data in your environment. Then you talk about some data elements, some features, some responses. This is my target column. This is, then I did, this was the cleaning problem. This was the problem in data pre-processing. I fixed like this, I fixed like that. And then you go to the next step. Then you say that I trained a model was not doing good. We thought, let us add some more data. We added some more data. Then we trained. So what I'm telling here is, it should look like a story. Okay.
Mhm. Yes,
What
yes,
mistake
yes.
Dhariya did here is, if you go back to video and see, right, Dhariya spoke about the data and directly about precision recall. Okay. As an
Yes,
interviewer,
yes.
I'm not interested in knowing what was your precision, what was your recall. Initially, at the beginning, in the end, you tell me, that is fine. But in the beginning, you are saying precision is this much, recall is this much. We saw AUC. No. First, talk business, then talk data, then talk your model building steps. Then obviously you will talk your model results, right?
Yes, yes.
So that is a feedback for all of you. So if you remember or not, Bikram was with me another day. Bikram is one of my data science mentor. So
Okay.
Bikram is a very experienced data scientist. He is telling me that day in video, you can see in my channel, 1 hour you should be able to talk about your project. If given time, then you should be able to talk about your project for 1 hour,
Okay.
minimum half an hour. Okay.
Okay.
Now imagine you talk data and you talk precision recall. Then it's over in 2 minutes, 15 minutes maximum.
Yes, yes.
So you should make it a story, explain that properly. That is what I'm coming. Second point, second feedback and important feedback. Uh, Little bit of, I don't know your nature, core nature, but don't take it personally again. But little bit of aggression I could see in your behavior, little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Try to avoid that. Sometimes interviewer might push you in an uncomfortable position. That time also, don't lose the cool. I also do that knowingly at times. Don't lose the cool and don't look aggressive.
Yes.
Okay. Third thing is, always you have to answer when interviewer finishes the question.
Okay.
Okay. If I say multicollinearity, what is multicollinearity in linear regression? Then what is multicollinearity? Up to here only you stop me. Okay, multicollinearity is no. Always listen to the question completely. What happens when you don't listen to the question is, other person might feel offended. See, I'm not feeling offended, but
Mhm.
everybody is different, right? Few
Sure,
people,
sure.
few people might feel little offended, and if that aggressive nature is mixed with that, right, the result of the interview might not go in your favor, even if you are good in technique.
Surely, surely, surely.
Okay. Again, I will repeat, don't take it personally. This is for your
Yeah,
growth.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. No issue.
Okay. So thanks for your time, Daria. We'll stay
Thank
in
you.
touch,
Yes,
and
sure.
all the best to you. All the best to all you guys. Thanks for joining, guys, at this late night.
Thank you.
We'll see you all. Thank you, guys.